Hello everybody and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm Chibi Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
I'm Cece. And I'm Cozy.
And we're back. It's the second week of Halloween month, spooky month, Scooby month, whatever you're thinking of calling it right now. We're watching more Scooby-Doo anime movies, technically. I'm gonna count it. And so last week we watched Zombie Island. This week we're watching The Witch's Ghost. Sorry, Envy threw out this trailer for another anime, and it's a little stuck in my head, and I'm having mixed feelings about the whole thing. Little off today. Witch's Ghost.
It's also a little later at night.
It's always a little later at night. I don't know.
Witch's Ghost.
Witch's Ghost, thank you. So, The Witch's Ghost is the second one from Mook Studios. It came after Zombie Island, and then there's the other ones and whatnot. And this one has a number of things which either went on to be kind of become like staples for Scooby-Doo, or should become staples for Scooby-Doo, but sadly can't anymore. Let's get into it. What happens in this one? I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure how connected this is to Zombie Island. Like, are they still doing TV stuff, or are they just we're just doing Scooby-Doo again?
No, they're doing like freelance detective work.
Yeah,
That
I think
sounds
after
right.
Zombie Island, I think they went back to reopening Mystery Incorporated.
Seems weird. I feel like Daphne would have got paid a lot more as a reporter.
Yeah.
And they got hired by a museum guy for the opening.
Tim Curry.
Yep.
Well, wait, did he hire them for the mummy thing? We start in the middle of a mummy thing, kind of like the last one. We kind of started at the tail end of whatever mystery they had with the swamp monster or green
Mummy
doobity-doo.
gladiator things.
Yeah, I think they were mixing some things together that were kind of like I don't know if you whoever's run this museum really knew what they were doing. Regardless, it's the tail end of a mystery that we don't need to know about. They found the whodunit and whatnot, and Tim Curry shows up and he's like, "Hey, I need your help." In his Tim Curry voice. That's one of the things where I'm like, should have been more Tim Curry in these movies.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't even about help at first.
Or what was he?
Velma just had a boner for him.
Well, honestly, Velma gets a lot of boners in these movies, I feel like, nowadays.
Who was the other?
Wasn't she kind of into the gardener in the last one?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, and then the alien one, she was kind of into that guy.
Which guy?
We'll find out next week.
Woohoo!
True.
Yeah, so... Yeah, Velma's thirsty for Tim Curry, because, how could you not? It's Tim Curry.
Yeah, who wouldn't be?
And,
Smashing.
and if you're not thirsty for Tim Curry, you'll get thirsty for something else later. We'll get there. So they're going to Salem, right? Or is it some other Salem insert place?
It's someplace in New England.
It's New England.
Yeah.
It's witch-timey kind of... Someone's ancestor was convicted of being a witch, but they said they weren't. But, we know how that song and dance tends to go. So yeah, they're up there, and there's a witch's ghost flying around, scaring the hell out of people. The mayor from Jaws put on some weight, but he's now the mayor of another New England town. And there's also going to be a big festival that is a real problem, that this witch ghost is haunting up the place. You chase people around and stuff. But what's the big thing that's going on with this festival?
I would like to point out that it took all of us basically 20 years to realize that one scene they were churning butter.
Ew.
You guys didn't know they were churning butter?
I
I knew
were
they
making
were.
candles or something.
That's not how you make a candle.
No,
I was a
I
child.
associated that with churning butter, as a 4-year-old.
I'm from Pennsylvania. I've seen Amish country. I know what churning butter is.
All right, maybe it's just
Yeah.
me and Cozy.
Maybe. Anywho.
It's weird.
Speaking of churning butter, the Hex Girls are in this.
Nice segue.
I got nothing else. These guys actually ended up becoming they show up in a lot of other Scooby-Doo stuff. They were in another movie, and I think some of the other TV shows later on, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had I watched this a little more as a child, might have informed my interest in women growing up.
Definitely informed mine.
Oh, without, yeah.
Let's be real. The reason Witch's Ghost was so popular is because everyone, awakened to liking women through the Hex Girls.
Yep.
Yep.
When did this come out? This was
2000?
2000?
98 or something like that.
No, 98 was Zombie
98
Island.
was the first one, so this was like 99.
Then
or
it would be
2000.
99.
Yeah, I feel like that was right about the time.
Yeah, because I think
like
they were only 1 year apart.
that was what, like late 90s to all the way through the 2000s. I think like goth girls and like kids shows started informing people quite a bit.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Take it back.
You take it back? What do you mean?
This is why goth and scene girls were so big.
So you're saying that the Hex Girls informed
our
later
time.
cartoons outside the Scooby-Doo stuff, which got people into that kind of thing?
Yes, Scooby-Doo directly caused that domino effect.
Maybe. I do know a lot of people were into Raven from Teen Titans when that came out in like 2005. But she existed way before the Hex Girls, I think. What was that? 80s something?
But her
Wolfman?
iteration is also much different
Yeah.
in the comics.
She wasn't nearly as goth in the comics
Yeah.
until that iteration of her.
Okay. Enough about our goth chick fantasies of the past. Let's talk a little like what else happens in this movie. The Hex Girls are there. They're there for musical numbers, which I think these movies do well with musical numbers no matter what. There wasn't really like I guess the last one didn't really have like a musical number, but they had musical montages in the last one, but they were pretty good. The Hex Girls have some songs. They're pretty good as well. They're catchy.
Yeah.
The performances are very well animated, and they are set up as the red herring because, oh, there's a witch's ghost. Obviously, it's the goth people. So, because...
Well, Thorne was being very sus.
Yeah, so was the gardener in the last movie. Like...
They were literally pretending to be vampires.
I thought they were pretending to be witches or Wiccans or whatever. Or they are Wiccans.
Well, they wore vampire teeth.
Yeah.
I think it was just the whole aesthetic was kind of like witch / vampire / just goth.
It's a little too obvious, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you look back at it in retrospect, and it was like very like green agenda.
Yeah, that they like even described. They said they're eco-goths or something, which okay, I don't entirely know what that means, but I mean I know what it means, but I'm like, how does that make you different from a normal goth person? Any goths in the comments, let us know. Anywho, they think that the witch-looky people are the witch because stereotypes, and they try to chase down the witch. Turns out the witch is not a witch. It's what was it? One of the Hex Girls' dads in a costume,
And the mayor.
trying to
And like the entire town.
yeah, the entire town was in on this, and they were trying to like get a legend going for the witch's ghost to try to drive up tourism. Every time the mayor from Jaws is in a movie, it has something to do with the town struggling with tourist revenue. And it usually ends with some sort of like bad event happening.
They were doing this by using Tim Curry's ancestor.
Yeah, which is
and calling
defamation
her
at
a
best.
witch.
Yeah. Yeah, there was also, I think after that, after the actual Scooby-Doo plot is done, we start a whole secondary plot, a very short one, about, like, we gotta go find the book that,
To prove her innocence.
Yeah. And
It was
I
supposed to be a book of healing, I think?
Yeah, like herbs, medicine kind of thing. They were a little bit more of like one of those like I'll mix up a thing and people were like, "Oh, it's a potion. That's magic and you're evil and go burn on a stake." kind of deal. Which, that happened back then, unfortunately. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Scooby and Shaggy also figure this one out, don't they? Cuz they found the big tree or whatever.
They had found the one. They thought it was a shoe buckle, but it was the buckle for her book.
Yeah, so they found the book, they dig it up. It's this should prove her innocence, right? Nope, she was a witch. Tim Curry's a witch. Everybody's like drawing evil powers now. This suddenly turns into a very different movie at the end.
It suddenly turns into an anime.
It does. It's kind of weird. It's like the first 2 acts of this film are a regular Scooby-Doo thing, and then the last 15 minutes suddenly we're summoning the powers of hell and bringing people back from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
I think
this is why, beyond seeing the witch's ghost first, to me it made more sense to think that the witch's ghost came first chronologically, was because the whole magic thing was introduced at the very end, whereas Zombie Island, it was
kind of there throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you get on that island, it's like shit's going down and shit's weird. But I think they were still trying to think that it was a mystery at that point. This is just blatantly he pulled a book out of the ground. Now it's glowing and he's setting things on fire and all sorts of other stuff, and he's calling up his ancestor from the bowels of hell. We got no way of being this is a guy in a mask. Mm-hmm. It was a little...
What if they were still in denial about it?
That would have been hilarious. I would have loved it, but you have 15 minutes left. You don't. You got to just go all out real quick.
Yeah, at that point it would be like the sequel to Zombie Island.
Yeah, and we don't need that.
No.
Did you guys talk about that last week?
Briefly. I think that for Return to Zombie Island, I think the first half is kind of funny, and then the second half just kind of shits the bed a little bit.
Yeah.
As soon as the big twist is revealed that they're on a film set, it's just kind of goes downhill. But this one kind of just ramps up at the end.
Yeah, so, she was a witch, summoned her back from hell.
Mm-hmm. Voiced by who? Is that Tress MacNeille?
Yep.
Yeah, she does a lot of good stuff. And she's like, I'm going to take my book and take over the world, basically. Burn it all down. And so they have to find a way to get her. How did they get her back?
They had to get the book away from her, and it had a sealing spell in it, because, Okay.
Oh, right.
Every witch puts the here's how to get rid of me spell in their spell book.
Yep.
Yeah, I would put that in a separate spell book or something. Or maybe just
Especially, they said she couldn't even cast that spell.
No, you have to be a pure Wiccan. And Thorn is a very descendant of a Wiccan, so she had the blood of a Wiccan, so that's how they were able to steal her away by her.
My whole thing is Wicca itself, while based on old belief systems and whatnot.
Yeah, it's not
it's
Judaism
fairly new.
Or something.
It's only from the 50s.
Okay, so maybe they were pagans before?
It's not even something that can be passed down through bloodlines, though.
Yeah.
Paganism might be.
No,
it's not.
That's a religious belief.
It's just a religion, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this doesn't make sense. But it's magic and it's blah blah blah. But maybe it's the power of belief that allows you to do it or something. It didn't. I think Tim Curry tried, but he's evil. The witch didn't believe?
No, Thorn didn't believe.
Well,
I guess in this Scooby-Doo universe, you can have blood of a Wiccan transfer generations.
I mean, it probably just would have been her mom if she's a Wiccan in the sense of chronology.
Yeah, because she's 1/16th on her mother's side, and that would have been a century ago.
Yeah, that's 1/16.
That would have been more than a century.
This came out in the late 90s. It would have been 40 years ago.
Yes, but the Wiccan would then have come from the 1800s.
Yeah,
with a 1/16th in the bloodline. Does not make any sense.
Yeah.
I don't think they did their research.
Well, no. I mean, we saw the mummies in the beginning. We know
didn't.
that they don't really... They're not, history buffs or anything like that.
Also, being a Wiccan or following Wicca in, the 90s, early 2000s, even up until when we were in college, it was kind of a big no-no.
Yeah.
I did a whole project on this. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know, there was, a big thing about, Dungeons and Dragons was, converting kids to Satanism or something back then.
Yeah, it was the Satanic Panic from, the 70s and 80s.
I was going to say, back when everything was considered evil, like rock and roll, and then metal music, and then all kinds of shit, and
Well,
I think that's
because,
a little
like,
before
you
that.
have to keep in mind how the time we grew up in, we were still raised very religiously, even if we fell out of religion later on. So, like, it is just now becoming acceptable to, at least in the case of the US, not be a Christian in some form.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that I was brought up that religiously.
I mean, I feel like even at that, like, you would still, like, it was more common than not to, like, either look down upon or, like, be very suspicious or superstitious of, like, anything that did not fall within the purview of, like, paganism or neo-paganism or anything of the like.
People were like,
way.
That's straight up witchcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think as a culture in general, we were just kind of, like, based on, like, the Puritan kind of beliefs. So the religion kind of passed down through the ages, even if you weren't specifically raised as, like, religious. I think, like, it's so ingrained in the society.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and even
definitely.
And even at that, like, when we talk about, like, how our country was founded, like, we talk about... A lot of people especially,
right?
like, refer to... What?
As a tax haven, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is when people refer to, like, the founders of our country, like, a lot of them were Freemasons, and all you really had to be was a believer in some religion, and that was all you needed. Like, you didn't need to necessarily be a Christian, but you had to believe in some sort of higher power.
No. Yin had a really good point because, like, we're still kind of stuck in that culture because, like, it's widely accepted that you can't become a presidential candidate without believing in some iteration of Christianity or Catholicism.
But the thing another thing is that when we started adding the, what was it? During the pledge, when they added under God, that was added in, like, what, the 40s or 50s or something.
Well,
like
I mean, that went along with them just promoting the pledge because they were trying to, like, boost flag sales.
I did a whole project.
I feel like we're getting
too.
a little off subject. if I'm being real here.
I mean, this
interesting stuff looking back on, like, you know, historical cultural stuff and whatnot, but we're kind of at the point where Tim Curry is summoning a witch from hell to fight Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, you want to get back on topic? One of the next things they do is give a giant turkey a pap smear.
They do.
Oh god, that did happen.
Yep.
Yeah, they make a dino turkey and a whole bunch of other, like, Halloween-y fall sort of stuff.
Everything
comes
alive. Pumpkins, trees, you name it.
Yeah, it was fun. Good stuff. Yeah,
and then there's that whole sequence of Shaggy trying to drive the mystery machine around, and he just doesn't work out.
He shouldn't do that at all.
Oh, what about Shaggy trying to Wizard of Oz the witch away?
That was clever. I actually liked that. That cracked me up the first time I watched it.
Whatever works. But it didn't, so...
Or how about earlier in the movie when Shaggy and Scooby literally eat basically the entire food out of the restaurant to the point where the chef has to order more food and go into town and get more food.
That's one of my favorite parts.
It is very funny. I'd like to also point out, our TSA guy was there. He changed his hair and his mustache, but it's him. You're gonna, like... I'll show you the pictures. I'll bring up the pictures for everybody now, and I'll show you guys the pictures later, but it's him. He was
sitting like right behind them, wasn't he?
No, Scooby goes and eats right off of his plate, and you see the fear in that man's eyes. He's like, I thought I escaped you guys. You followed me all the way here.
Is this what we're going to be doing? We're going to be looking for TSA Man?
We're going to be looking for TSA Man in every one of these movies. Now, I don't know if it's just like there was a character design that people used over and over again, but... he's there, and I'm convinced that Shaggy and Scooby are hunting this man for his sanity. And they're gonna get it.
They're gonna get back into that contraband locker.
They already ate the contraband locker. They don't need to get back in. But they're gonna follow him and eat any food that's around him. Till he starves. More crazy theories for Scooby-Doo. We had a bunch last time. Yeah.
All right, so how about our ending here?
Thorne ends up believing in herself enough to put her back, right? And she sucks Tim Curry in the book with her.
Yep.
She
The witch
will
sucks
not
Tim
go
Curry back in.
alone. That part
And then the
legitimately
burned
scared
books,
me.
and I just love how not of a shit they give to the rest of the Mystery Inc. to Tim Curry's character. Like, they could have easily tried to reach out to him and save him,
yeah.
or they could have, stopped the book from burning, but it's like...
Straight up murder.
Nah.
He did just try to murder them pretty hard. And summon someone from hell.
Didn't a tree fall on the book?
Yeah, but they could have...
Yeah, and they
could have easily
just
picked it
stood
up
there.
before it burned. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you want that lying
And they were
around?
like, and that's the end of Sarah and Ben Ravencroft.
I'm pretty sure that leaving it there was probably... Not that they probably intended to do it, but it was just kind of like, I don't think anyone wanted to touch that book.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't think they wanted anyone to have access to that book in general.
Although I do have a question about the end where, like, okay, because of the magic and the book destroyed, everything turned back to normal except for the giant turkey. Like, obviously they wanted to have a gag at the end of the movie, but, like,
They
everything
needed
else
the
turned back to
tourism
normal.
appeal.
They needed what?
The tourism appeal. It's no
Yeah, that
longer
does
the
solve
town
the-
with the witch's ghost. It's the town with the giant frickin' turkey.
There you go. That's your solution right there. Maybe it was like in something and it blocked the magical wave of destruction, like how the small soldiers hid under the satellite dish when the EMP went off in that movie. You guys remember Small Soldiers?
I think it stayed a giant turkey because it believed it was a giant turkey.
You know what? There you go. And you know what a pumpkin can't do? Believe that it's alive. Honestly,
like
if you go with that, it makes sense.
I would like to double back about leaving the book there. Elle, can you throw up a picture of what the book actually looked like? Because, like, that thing did look like it would bite your hand off.
Yeah, it's got that, like, Necronomicon kind of vibe.
It had the face.
You don't want that. Like, I don't think in Evil Dead the Necronomicon ever bit anybody, but it's like, you don't pick up a book that looks like it's got, like, human skin or a face or teeth or basically anything.
Not without gloves, at least.
Wait, the Necronomicon had a face on it?
In Evil Dead, yeah.
What?
And it was made of human skin, but, it's like...
Yeah, like, that's the part I know.
Yeah, no. Have you seen the Evil Dead movies?
I have, but it's
Yeah, take a look at it. It's got like this
literally
grimacing face, kind of like, ugh.
Oh, disgusting. We love that.
Yeah. That's another thing we should rewatch for Halloween or something.
Yeah, that's on my list, actually.
Oh my god, no, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the piggy bank.
God.
Yeah.
The piggy bank?
There's a piggy bank that has a face and it eats the coins. Cece looks like they're gonna go throw it in chat. It's really creepy, but the Necronomicon face kind of looks like that aged up.
Okay.
That sounds amazing.
All right, I have to take your word for it. I'm not seeing it in chat yet.
Yeah,
Give me a
no.
minute.
Oh, I'm
We're
sorry.
apparently looking for, like, the video of it eating things.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
not enough to look at it. You gotta watch it eat the coin.
All right. So what was our favorite part of this movie?
Definitely.
I mean,
Hex
Tim
Girls.
Curry and Jennifer Hill make this movie for me. Like, yeah, obviously the Hex Girls, but, like, Jennifer Hill's voice and her singing and those songs are just too damn catchy. Like, they're still in my head. I've seen the movie for a couple months now, and it's still... they're still in my head.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. This was your first time watching it, right, Envy?
Didn't watch it until a couple months ago for the first time. I watched Zombie Island, Alien Invaders, and Cyber Chase growing up, but this was the one I didn't watch. So,
Well, your parents clearly
Okay.
thought that it was going to make you a Satan-worshipping...
honestly, I didn't know it existed. I just knew about the other three. I didn't know about this one.
Huh.
Link
Weird.
is in chat.
Yeah, it does look like a Necronomicon a little bit. It looks like a happier Necronomicon, but...
Yeah, that's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
I've seen that before.
The Necronomicon, but aged. Or, like, young. Smooth I can't talk.
It's a young, smooth, hip, happening, sexy Necronomicon.
and it feeds off of capitalism instead of flesh.
I don't know that the book feeds, it just allows other things to. I don't know. We'd have to rewatch Evil Dead. And Evil Dead 2.
It is still spooky.
And Army of Darkness. And Ash vs. Evil Dead. You know what? We could just marathon this whole thing.
Ooh, we can also put a poll down in chat now. I think we should do Die Hard for Christmas.
Christmas.
It's basically anime. We'll see when we get there. We still got like 2 more Scooby-Doo movies and some other stuff to get through this month. Yeah, I think I think you guys have a point. Like the biggest thing that probably came out of here was the Hex Girls, because they did continue on for a couple other things. Tim Curry did come back for he was the Goblin King, wasn't he?
Yes. That movie was wild.
Yeah, it was weird. It was very reluctant werewolf.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It's just Shaggy and Scooby just tripping. I don't know.
And what did Fred, Daphne, and Velma do? They just
became monsters.
But for most of the movie, what did they do? Were they with
that fairy?
I think they were just hanging out.
They were just chilling. Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird movie, but go watch it just to experience it.
Plus, Tim Curry is the Goblin King. And, what's his face? Newman.
Oh, yeah.
Ted Knight. No, not Ted Knight. Wayne Knight.
He was the shop guy, right?
Ted Knight's the guy from Caddyshack and the Super Friends.
Wait, you're talking about the Princess Bride guy, right?
Princess Bride guy?
Or who are you talking about?
Wayne Knight, the guy from Jurassic Park and Seinfeld.
Oh, no.
Newman.
Was that the shop guy?
That was the magician dude who stole the Goblin King's shit. The shop dude was Wallace.
That was Princess
Wallace
Bride,
Shawn.
Right? That's the dude I was thinking of.
Inconceivable. That's him.
Inconceivable guy.
Yeah.
I knew he was in it. I just didn't remember where.
We're going off on a lot of different tangents tonight. Scooby brings up so much childhood
Toy Story.
What's up?
How?
The inconceivable guy. He's also the voice of Rex from Toy Story.
Yeah.
True.
That's Wallace Shawn. He's a very, very prolific character actor.
How would you rank this soundtrack-wise versus Zombie Island? Because I feel like the soundtrack is still okay for this one, but Zombie Islands had, the bonus of actually having a sequence to go with it.
I'm in agreement with that. They had the 2 separate montages and honestly pretty good music video type things for their 2 featured songs, and they also had a pretty decent cover of their original Scooby intro as well that we can also throw in there. These ones, they came with good performances for the songs themselves, and the sequences that they were animated with were interesting, but they're really just just a performance thing that you see. And we've actually seen stuff like that in other Scooby-Doos, especially I forget which iteration of the show. Was it Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? It was something where they always had a celebrity show up or something, and if it was a musician at the time, they were always going to do a performance of it, some kind of thing.
Oh,
that was the
that
one
was definitely
where
Where Are You?
Scooby-Doo meets the blank.
Yeah. The Harlem Globetrotters or Don Knotts or whatever.
It was that era.
Was that the Scooby-Doo show?
I think it was.
It was a series of short films or something like that.
Yeah, they were each an hour and a half.
I remember they met Batman and Robin.
Yep. They met Batman and Robin, yeah.
Good times.
The Addams Family, that was a good one.
I don't think I saw that one.
I'm pretty sure they met the Addams Family.
That one streaming service, HBO Max, now has all the old shows on it, so we gotta go back and look at some stuff.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, they do not have any of these movies we're watching though.
That's because they're all on Boomerang.
Ah, I see.
Which is still a thing, surprisingly.
Honestly, it's good for them that they managed to keep it up.
Right? When I found out there's still a service, it triggered some primordial fear in me.
Why fear?
Because I feel like Boomerang died out when we were still kids.
No, it was just a channel that they kind of had to advertise as a channel because you had to order it special through your cable package.
Yeah, it was weird.
I'm I feel like Boomerang, one of the big things was Yogi Bear.
Yeah. It was all the old Hanna-Barbera stuff and stuff that I think what happened, because this was coming right after the big resurgence of Scooby-Doo stuff in the 90s that we talked about last week. I think Boomerang came about because they had, one, a lot of really new shows that were really popular that they wanted to have on. But at the same time, a lot of the old stuff, Scooby-Doo, Tom and Jerry, Yogi Bear, all the old Hanna-Barbera stuff, I think those were also really popular, and they didn't have enough time slots for stuff. So they're like, you know what? What if we make a second channel for all the old nostalgic stuff, like Flintstones and everything else?
See, I remember Boomerang being like early morning Cartoon Network.
Yeah,
but they had a separate channel for it too, I thought.
Yeah, they did.
They had a separate channel for it at some point, but early Boomerang was exclusively really early morning on Cartoon Network, like from like 4 a.m. until 6.
Yeah, see, I could see that being a thing. Like, that'd be a great place to do your reruns, because you don't really have to worry about, like, making a whole lot of extra money from advertising and stuff off of it. But, like, I guess, I think it was a result of, like, a lot of the old properties being so popular, and since it would just be a rerun channel, they really wouldn't have to, like, pay to make anything new for it. So it makes sense to some degree, at least when you were doing a lot of cable stuff. Now every channel has, like, every network has like 4 or 5 different channels for Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney, and whatever else. So you got plenty of time slots if you watch traditional TV anymore.
Yeah, who does cable anymore?
Yeah. What's up?
What about cable?
Who does it anymore?
If people watch cable anymore.
I mean,
it would definitely...
I still have cable, but I barely use it. The only thing I really use cable for anymore is the news.
Yeah, so
That's
I feel like older people still generally use cable, but like the younger generations, they just stream.
Yeah, because like it's all there, and it's like, why pay the extra $100
You don't gotta worry
for
about
cable?
time slots.
It's a money thing too.
Breaks.
It's like sometimes it's cheaper just to get internet.
What, you don't want to pay $273 a month?
No, not really.
But they'll give you 1,000 channels, they promise.
Yeah, but if I don't watch any of them, what's the big deal,
You dang millennials.
And this is why cable is dying out.
I mean, they didn't really compete in a changing marketplace, so it is what it is. No. They're going to try to struggle as they can. I don't know. Scooby-Doo. We have to keep circling back somehow. I don't know how.
Well, we can say Scooby-Doo continues to compete because it keeps getting new shows and stuff like every year.
Yeah, it's Scooby-Doo's never gonna die. I mean, we can say that with certainty.
I don't know if it's ever been gone for a significant period of time.
I think
there was a chunk in like the 80s.
Yeah.
But wasn't that all Red Shirt Shaggy?
Well, no, like after Red Shirt Shaggy, when it kind of went away for a while, but then
the 90s.
But I think after that, Cartoon Network became a thing, and it was part of that, like, Ted Turner just bought up a whole bunch of old stuff, which is how you get Cartoon Network with all the reruns of Hanna-Barbera stuff, and Turner Classic Movies with all those, like, commercial-free, like, old films, and a number of other things, other channels. But that's kind of where the resurgence came with all the reruns and stuff, and then you have these, and then all the other shows popped out after it. And I think they just haven't let up since. They're like, we're just gonna keep making stuff, and we're just it prints money. It prints money. We're gonna keep going.
Although, I will say, the Return to Zombie Island is like the newest format of Scooby-Doo, right?
I don't think so. I think there might have been something after it.
The newest,
I feel like
the newest movie that came out was Scooby-Doo Meets Courage, or I forget what the exact title of the movie is, but it's a crossover between that and Courage, and I saw it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, because that came out this year, I think, right?
Yeah, like last month.
And I think they had like some TV shows even that were coming out after.
There's a show called Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, where it's basically the same format as those Meet the movies from the 70s. It's just in a TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw some of that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like
there was one episode that was free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The new formats are very good at keeping up with kind of what's on trend with the children of that generation. Like, a lot of the humor in The Return to Zombie Island was pretty on brand.
Yep. Again, up until the second half, and then it really falls apart.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Fred fucked the Mystery Machine.
Off screen. Does it really even count?
Yes, because my childhood is still ruined with that image.
Well, mine's not. Anywho, so any final thoughts on The Witch's Ghost? Which is what we were supposed to be talking about. I feel like this is going to be the month of tangents.
It's hard to talk about Scooby and not talk about other Scooby stuff, you know?
Yeah, and literally everything else that was going on with us whenever we first watched it.
Right.
I would say overall less scary than Zombie Island as a child.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
True.
But probably just because all of the horror elements were packed into that last 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Very true.
and it wasn't like it was more of like a not really like a scary or a creepy kind of thing where you're being like it was more of just like a big battle kind of like fantasy moment as opposed to the zombies, which were a little more like these are like spooky, creepy looking monsters that are just slowly coming to get you kind of thing.
Yeah, like Zombie Island definitely felt like, ooh, they're gonna kill you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Tress MacNeille was definitely trying to kill some people, but it still feels a little more like not a video game, but in that sort of vein.
I also
more of an
think
action sequence as opposed to a horror sequence.
Witch's Ghost was overall less dark, I think.
Yeah. I think that might have contributed to it a little bit. A lot of was it during the daytime, a lot of it? Like, even during the day, Zombie Island was, like, murky and dark looking. I don't think we had that as much here, so that might be part of it.
Well, what are the next movies we're doing?
Well, next week, good for you asking, because next week we are watching Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, where they go to Arizona?
I think so.
Or Nevada?
Yeah.
Which one has Area 51? New Mexico?
Oh, it was New Mexico.
Okay. Nevada has
Roswell?
Area 51.
Roswell.
Roswell, New Mexico. We're hitting all
I don't know if that's where they are, but it's somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure it's somewhere like it.
In the Southwest.
Southwest desert region full of alien encounters. You know the drill.
Do you think Area 51's in Nevada, though?
Okay, and then
Area
what's the
51's
one
in
after
Nevada.
that?
And the one after that is Cyber Chase, and then we have a special thing at the end of the month that we're going to be doing. We still got to do a couple things to put together. But we'll discuss that later.
So every movie from Zombie Island is kind of like a step down from how hard they went. Because they start distancing themselves.
I don't know why. They should have embraced it a little bit more.
Yeah, no, that would have been great.
I think maybe it was potentially complaints from parents.
Oh, they don't know shit.
I mean, think of it this way. In comparison to the Scooby-Doo that the parents of those kids who were watching it in, like, the late 90s, they grew up with a more family-friendly Scooby-Doo. This was actually scary in comparison. So I think they may have just toned it down just so that way, like, they could garner more of an audience. But because potentially, like, a lot of people would have been thrown off by it being too scary, for kids especially, because that was their target demographic in the first place.
I feel like after this, we started returning to, like, traditional, formulaic, like, the Scooby-Doo episodes, because it all started to, like, return to, oh, there's a man in a mask behind it all.
Yeah.
Well, that was more just the fact that it had come back to popularity, so they wanted to, like, go back to the old format.
Yeah.
Which honestly isn't bad or like a bad concept because What's New Scooby-Doo did very, very well.
Oh yeah, it was a good show.
That was good. And a lot of the later movies I actually think were like pretty good too.
Yeah, like all of those movies coming out in like the mid 2000s were honestly some of the best like little animated movies that I saw. because they actually still stick with me, and I like still think about them every once in a while. Especially the one where they went to Loch Ness. I don't know.
That was fun.
I just like that one a lot.
The Highland Games!
Maybe we need to make this a more regular thing, like every Halloween we just watch a bunch of Scooby movies. I mean, they're all basically anime at this point. So, yeah, maybe we make this a more regular thing. Who knows? We'll have to see next year. But for now, next week, do we have any other final thoughts about this?
No.
Didn't want to step on anybody before we close it out. Next week, Alien Invaders. The week after that, Cyber Chase. And the week after that, well, we'll let you know when it's about to happen. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye!
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!